Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for trucks, obviously. On the lot.
He became steel resistant.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of Earthworks Hub. I'm your host, Ivan Orlovic, and I have a guest with me today by the name of Ben Stephen from Mulchtech Australia, who are the TMC Cancela national distributor and also a platinum sponsor for Earthworks Hub. So, Ben, thank you very much for starters for being a platinum sponsor, and thanks for joining me on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
No worries, man. Let's get into it. So, tell us a little bit about Mulchtech Australia. So what do you guys do? How long it's been around and all that sort of stuff?
No worries. Well, Mulchtech Australia has been around effectively since around 2018 with a national importer for TMC Cancela mulchers. Mulchers are all built in Spain. We're based in Adelaide. We bring the machines in and distribute them out nationwide. It's a very high-end brand. It's a brand people can buy with confidence, and obviously contractor type people is our main customer base at the moment. So the machines we've got for excavators, skid steers, tractors, all sorts. So basically mini stand-ons, they're actually becoming pretty popular, but yeah, 1.5 to 40 ton excavators and most skid steers sort of 60 litres a minute onwards we cater for. So forestry, grass, we've also got some stone crusher options for big skid steers, high flow, but generally for the viewers, obviously, of your show, hydraulic machines are the main focus. We do a lot in tractor PDO as well, so big stone crushers, PDO forestry mulchers, grass cutters from sort of 20 horsepower to 500 horsepower. Massive range. Companies, it's a 45-year-old company. It's relatively new to Australia, effectively speaking. I mean, we've only been, 2018, 2019, the first machines landed here. They're massive in Europe. We've got, big presence over there. They're just starting to push really hard into America at the moment, which is pretty much an untapped market as well. But it's been very well received in Australia. We've got excellent repeat customers, which is fantastic. Got guys 2-3 machines now. We have very, very few warranty issues, which is fantastic. So we can sell with confidence. All our dealer network sells confidently. There's not going to be small issues. We've got excellent parts, availability in stock. We stock a lot. We've got 2 branches. One is in the Barossa Valley where I am, which is where all the machines are just basically our warehouse for the machines. And our spare parts are located at our other branch in Renmark, which is in the Riverland, sort of hour and a half from Mildura. We've got another part to our business, which is Vineyards machinery. Myself, we've got diesel mechanics and spare parts guys and that for another part of our business, which is mainly vineyard and orchard based. Probably the main reason we got into this about 2018, that industry started to decline. We needed to weatherproof ourselves, drought-proof ourselves, and look for different avenues that could, let's say, create income 12 months of the year, not just seasonally. And also involve us with a lot of new customers that we'd never had before. So we never chase broadacre guys. We never chase civil, forestry, mining, none of that. Whereas now we do. Open up a lot of avenues, a lot of doors. Yes, that's the basic rundown. TMC themselves are northwest of Spain. So it's a place called Galicia. It's just north of Portugal. It's a family-owned business, 180 odd employees. They're doing 2,000 units a year, very robotised. They've just had a massive expansion to the factory, so it's a lot of automation going on and very, very professional. They've won awards for a lot of the automation they've implemented. So it's definitely a top-notch company, fantastic to deal with. We've done a lot of importing before with different companies, France and Italy, for example, and the level of support we get from these guys is just, you just don't get this anywhere. So it's just fantastic for us to know that we've got a really good partner and they really do listen. If there's little problems or we want alterations made, they go out of their way to do that for us. So an excellent working relationship, which doesn't happen, especially with, for example, with the French guys. It's not happening. So we're very, very lucky there. We've found a really good partner, a really good brand. They give us a lot of scope, a lot of, room to do what I want to do with the business and how we want to run it. So that's excellent.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I actually was going to say that I'm noticing there's a big integration nowadays between, forestry, agricultural, civil, like even going to a lot of these expos like Farm World, Farm Fest, and it's not just agricultural stuff there anymore. They're bringing a lot of machinery, excavators, skid steers. There's a lot more of that, like all sort of combining. Are you finding that, is that sort of also what you see? A quick shout out to our platinum sponsors, Earth Moving Warehouse, Melbourne Tractors, and TMC Cancela.
Yeah, we're finding. I mean, in Australia traditionally, mulching was never a big thing. In Europe, it's massive. It's always has been massive there. We're finding with a lot of the fires over, let's say, last 15 years, the big fires, it's changed a little bit of government mindset and council mindset to let landowners manage their properties a little more, which obviously then naturally sells more mulchers. So yeah, there's a big emphasis there. Burning off, years ago, they'd just get a dozer, chain it, burn it, done. The rules have tightened up a lot on that now. So it's more, let's say, strategic mulching, and there's a lot of invasive species, especially in Queensland. It's massive, it rains there in New South. So they're our two big customer bases. But yeah, it's a lot of land management now. We're seeing a lot of civil guys actually starting to get more into the attachments, not so much that it was something they were seeking out to start or to really do the business. It's probably more there's a job come up, it may be a subdivision, whatever. They buy an attachment, they can pay it off relatively quick and not have to get a third party in to do the job. So they stay more in control of the whole job. And we're just finding there's a lot more civil guys. Probably, I'd suggest 80% of our customers at the moment buying hydraulic mulchers are, they're a civil contractor. So they've already got diggers and whatever else. So it's a good fit. Effectively, it's just another attachment. And then obviously some customers take that further and then realise that it's good money and chuck a guy on there full time and start pumping that. And there's one thing we really do with all of our customers is we push work their way 100%. So naturally we get a lot of phone calls. Today I've got a whole heap from the weekend and there's a lot of guys, they've probably got no real idea of what a mulcher's worth and they've got 5 acres to do. So they're not going to buy a machine, right? So we get their details, we pass them on to the contractors that have bought our machines and support us. So we do that a lot. So we try to give back effectively to our guys that way. So yeah, it's definitely growing. Our business has pretty much doubled each year for the last probably 3 years now. So we've really got traction and momentum. When we first brought them in 2018, it was quite difficult to sell machines. It was an unknown brand, right? Even though it was still a 40-year-old company then, it was unknown in Australia. And Australia is really funny where everyone really doesn't want to be, let's say, will feel like the guinea pig to take, be the first one. So
yeah,
we've been very mindful to really try to get good guys that are, will promote us well, which we have a lot of those guys, a lot of good contractors, and generally they'll sell machines for us, which is awesome. The other thing we're very mindful of in Australia is that we get a lot of video content locally of our machines. We actually just did a massive trip in Queensland. We're up there for 9 weeks and we did 27 demos in the end. So we've made, there's 20 odd videos now on YouTube on Mulchtech Australia. And the advantage of having videos in Australia is just a mindset with Aussies that if there's a pine tree or a mountain in the background, you snow on it, everyone just says, oh, it won't work in Australia. So it's just a mind over matter thing, same as with everything from Europe that is imported. And it's really just to get good guys that have, proven them. We've got guys that have done thousands of hours now on the machines with minimal issues. So yeah, we've got customers selling machines for us now. So we've got lots of salesmen all over Australia. So that's cool. But yeah, another sector too that's really interesting for us is we're getting a little more into mining as well. So just to give you some examples of how that works, like Santos up in Queensland, they've got all their gas wells everywhere. They've got contractors there, or we've got contractors that they're using that they'll go in and create all their new little roads with mulchers rather than just push through with dozers and make a hell of a mess. So there's all sorts of new avenues, like I said, for us. Mulchers are in general becoming bigger. They're not going to be for every contractor at all, but obviously high rainfall areas. Even in Adelaide where we are, it doesn't rain here very often. So we don't get the growth that they do in, Queensland, northern New South Wales, and, even WA. There's a big growing market there, excellent market there actually. So it's, I think it's,
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, it's true. When you think about it, when you're pushing out or trying to make a road through some scrub, usually you pick up heaps of dirt with it. Like you can never really just take the top off. Whereas with
yeah,
the mulcher, you just take off just the shrub, and the dirt still stays the same. You're not making a huge mess. So it
that's
probably
right.
does make sense. Yeah, you're right. And also, I think when we were talking earlier, before the show, we were talking about, that's right, we were talking about the costs. We were saying how sometimes you can actually just mulch things on site and leave the material there without having to go and get
Yeah,
trucks to cart it away and pay all the green waste fees. So
that's right.
are you finding people are enjoying that part?
Yeah, 100%. Look, it's, once again, if a lot of single guys have already got their own trucks, so it's probably not such an issue. But green waste in certain areas is not always charged to dump. But there's some customers that are, let's say, doing subdivisions. They want to just, because they're allowed to mulch it down and leave it on site at a good finish. So that's of interest to them, because it's, even if the cartage, the dumping fees aren't a lot of, even if they're not expensive, it's still a truck running, and it's still labour in that truck. So, once again, it's not going to suit everyone. Stone crushers too. We're finding more guys doing subdivisions rather than taking the stones off site, just crush them and leave them there. Solar farms, big one. So we've got guys where they're trenching between the towers, and obviously they've got to backfill the cables with sand. But most of the rules, or most of the feedback we're getting, is if the rubble's under 100 mil, they're allowed to put it back in the trench. So they're pretty much gone through with their Vermeer trencher, running up and down the windrow with a stone crusher, and then just pushing it straight in, rather than using sift buckets and having moxies run off the crushers and then bring it back. So massive money to be saved there for certain, not all situations, but once again, it's just a different thing that those guys are starting to probably look a little bit more at than what they previously did. So it saves them a heap of money.
Yeah, that's it. And I suppose you got one machine that can do multiple things, just with a couple of different attachments, rather than paying for trucks and other equipment to come.
That's
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the products. Or one, you mentioned warranty a bit earlier, and I know a lot of people get scared when they hear about products from overseas about warranty.
Yeah.
How does your warranty system work on your products?
All our machines are 1 year. All the forestry machines are 2-year warranty. So with warranty, we're not as stringent as, let's say, some other companies. So we're very flexible because we're in control of it. So we can pick and choose how we work through that. Very rare is there warranty issues, period. The bearing assemblies, the drive systems are rated way past the tractor horsepower. The way we're selling machines, we sell very carefully to make sure that, let's say in a gearbox situation, that we're matching the correct gearbox to the correct horsepower tractor, and especially in hydraulics. We're very mindful that if someone's got too much oil flow or not enough oil flow, we try and get the right machine. So that's why with excavators, for example, from 1.5 ton to 40 ton, there's about probably 8 different models, right? So we understand what the customer's machine is first, and then supply the correct machine. When that doesn't happen, then there is bound to be warranty issues, and that's what we find a lot of other brands tend to do, because for whatever reason, there might be a machine on their floor they want to get rid of because it's costing them money. So we don't do that. We would rather not sell a machine, have the customer buy the correct machine so we don't have to hear from them again. And that's generally how it is. So a lot of warranty, from my experience, can probably come back to a little bit of the salesman not technically selling them the right machine from day one. So and that goes with everything.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. Yeah, that's right. So it starts from the sales process. And if I'm a customer or someone that's really interested in one of these mulchers or stone crushers, and just say I'm in WA, like what's the process? So what would be the process for someone to buy one of these bits of equipment from yourself? And how can I actually try one? Can I actually even try one beforehand somehow?
Look, the trying one's very difficult. To give you an idea, is we've got some really tight borders, so getting machines back and forwards is a nightmare. We just got a stone crusher back the other day, and it's been over in New South Wales for a while, and sometimes it makes me wonder why we do things the right way, because it's just a headache to get it here, right? So hiring machines is very difficult if they're interstate. So we do a lot of demos, and we also have a lot of customers. We've got enough customers now in areas that generally if someone makes an inquiry, there's probably someone within a couple of hours of where they live that they could talk to. Most of our customers, we've obviously got a list of guys that are happy for us to pass phone numbers on and things, but most of our leads come through via email. So we generally call the customer, find out where they are, because not always the details are correct. So once we know their location, doesn't matter where in Australia they are, we'll work out if we've got a dealer nearby. And if we've got a dealer, obviously, then we'll get all the information correct. We pass it on to the dealer and then email the dealer all the information. The dealer will contact them, and naturally we'll follow that up. So we're talking about the dealers. We've got a growing dealer network. We're super fussy with dealers. We don't just get anyone on board. The reason is because that can ruin your business very quick as well. There's a lot of guys out there just looking to get one sale because the customer's asked him about a machine and get their margin and sort of move on. But the problem is then if something does go wrong with the machine, there's lack of knowledge, they won't stock parts. So the guys, anyone that is our dealer, is confidently the customer can go there and know he's going to have the parts available, have the service available, and some knowledge of the product. So that is important. That's something we're probably doing a little different to some of the other opposition, I guess. In that regard, we're trying to keep that a little bit tighter for a few years until we get bigger and then work out where it's going. But at the moment, like I said, sales are booming right now. Is spring, so they should be like it's sun's out and the grass is growing. So
Yeah.
But realistically, all year round, we don't really see many flat spots. Christmas is one, obviously. Christmas is a hard one. Time of year is probably 2 or 3 weeks there where it's always a little bit funny, but the rest of the year is very, very consistent, which is awesome. So, we've got containers regularly coming now, which is awesome. We know what models to stock, what not to stock. So we think we've got it fairly right, but yeah, you can't always have everything for everyone, but we can soon order machines. There's 400 different models that they build. It's very difficult we can't have all of them, but we've got a lot, too many in some ways, but we try to keep really good stock levels, which we do. We probably average about 150 machines in stock at any one time. And the reason for that is because the last thing we want to do is constantly, every time someone orders a machine, we've got to order it from overseas. It's just bad. So, and also attracting new dealers, it's a turn off. If you get a new dealer and half of their first order you don't have, it's like, it's a little bit of confidence lost straight away. So we're very mindful of that. And spare parts especially, we continually grow spare parts. Every time a new model is introduced, we stock everything that's vital. So very rarely do we get caught out. Air freight out of Spain is incredible. To be truthful, we've got a lot of customers sort of Mackay onwards. From Adelaide to Mackay, we can literally get a parcel from Spain to Mackay in the exact same time. So sometimes it's just easier to say to the factory, hey, send this straight there. And our freight over here is not great. It's slow.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I've heard the same thing. Even like to get something from Queensland down to Melbourne is almost the same cost and time as to get something from Melbourne to Dandenong, or from Sunshine to Dandenong or something, which is in the same state. It's just the way the system works. I don't understand. Yeah, crazy.
Freight is the biggest headache of the whole business, to be truthful. We've got some good suppliers. Nothing always goes to plan.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about the installation process. So just say I do buy one of these mulchers for my excavator. Like, what's the installation process? Do we need to change anything, do anything, or how does it work?
Generally, when we send the machine out, it's ready to go. So we obviously get their head bracket measurements and make the head bracket. Some customers do their own if they've got fab shops, if they're big customers, whatever. But yeah, we get the head brackets made. They're all certified, get them made in Australia. And we do them as the machine sell because there's so many different pin configurations on excavators. It's very difficult to have the right ones. They can go out with hoses or without hoses. Some customers will do their own, some won't. So basically they're plug and play. All of our motors, they're all high-end motors. They're Bosch Rexroth motors. They're all adjustable piston motors. So basically whatever oil flow or range the mulcher has, they're normally set at the high end of what the mulcher's rated to. And if the customer doesn't have quite enough oil, basically adjust one screw on the motor to get the rotor speed up to where it needs to be. So very, very simple. most of our machines need case drains. So it's probably on the smaller diggers, sort of the 3 to 5 tonners, not all of them have case drains. So that's something that, we just say to them, look, get your local dealer. That most of them, if it's a well-known brand, they'll have a kit available. If not, if it's a less-known brand, they'll just get their hydraulic man out and knock up a hose. So very, very simple. We don't really have trouble with that. The big stone crushers, all those bigger high-end machines, we always go out and deliver them just because there's a bit more going on, and we've got oil coolers and things to plug in and just to test it and set it up. But the mulchers generally, if most of the customers, I guess, that we're selling to, that they've got an idea, I suppose you'd say. So we don't have too many customers that have got zero idea. Like if they've got an excavator, they're not silly, right? They can operate. Yeah. So it's very easy. We probably have more trouble, to be truthful, with agricultural mulchers, where we've got a lot of hobby farmers that don't even know what a tractor is, and then trying to put a mulcher on it.
Yeah,
it could be more challenges in that area than civil guys, construction guys. It's very easy.
Yeah. No, true. Yeah. Let's talk about that case drain a bit more. So for anyone that doesn't know what a case drain is, a couple of guys have mentioned that in some of the other podcasts I've had. Just tell us a little bit about a case drain, just for anyone that doesn't know what that is.
Yeah. So a case drain is basically a piston motor. It always leaks oil internally. So basically it leaks into what's called the case of the motor, hence the reason case drain. It's also referred to as a low pressure dump or an unrestricted dump. So basically the case drain line should have only a couple PSI at the most, or ideally less. It should go through a low restriction filter. So generally the case drain goes directly to the oil tank. It shouldn't go back through valving, but there should be a filter there to catch metal should something ever go wrong with the motor. So pretty much anything with a high-speed motor these days would have it. If you've got a mulcher that doesn't have case drain, it doesn't have in my opinion, it doesn't have a very good quality motor on there, and its recipe, it's destined for disaster down the tracks. It's required on all of our machines. The only one that's not is a little 1.5 ton, which is called a THQ, which is got basically just a gear motor, direct drive, and it's because it's just so small, it doesn't really need it. But anything does, yeah. So it's more with mulchers, there's a lot of shock loads. So 1 minute there's no load, next thing there's 100% load. So when that happens, that's when the motor's more susceptible to leak internally, which I said they all do. And then that's obviously where the case drain's critical. Without the case drain, the motor will literally crack in half under pressure.
There you go.
So all the front seal out. So which is not cool. Yeah, we do have a few little problems. So sometimes the mini, like let's say the 1.5 to 3 ton excavators, they quite often have a foot pedal for the hydraulics. So generally they've just got to make sure that when they activate it, they only activate it in one direction. When they turn it off, they don't hit the pedal the other way. So that those little ones, they've quite often got to put a block of wood or something under the pedal. That's really an excavator problem, not a mulcher problem. But it's probably those guys that, if they're going to have dramas, will be them. But all the bigger machines, once you get the 10 ton on, they're all pretty much got everything on them.
Yeah. No, that's a good explanation, man. Thank you for that. Let's talk about the wear parts. So if you get one of these mulchers or stone crushers, what are the main wearing parts, and like how easy are they to get?
Super easy. Generally, contractors would get, let's say, a spare set of hammers when they buy a machine, especially if they're remote, right? It's going to ruin your day if you lose a hammer or break a hammer, and so the wearing components on the mulchers, 100% of the hammers, that's pretty much all we sell. Inside the machine, there's counterblades, which basically catch the material as it passes through, so the hammer gets to have another go at hitting it. We don't sell them. They are replaceable. We haven't actually sold any yet since we started. And a lot of the machines also have replaceable internal liners. So should the liner ever wear out, blow a hole through it, you replace that liner before you blow a hole through the chassis. Mainly on stone crushers, they have all the liners. So realistically, if you're a new customer and you were, fairly remote, we would just say, hey, look, get a spare set of hammers, spare set of bolts. That is it. Very rarely would we even sell belts. Most of our machines, anything sort of 10-ton onwards now, we've got polychain drives. The smaller ones are V-belt. They're carbon corded belts, so super, super strong belts. And the belt drive systems are rated way past what the horsepower figures are anyway. So we simply don't have belt drive failures. We just don't.
Yeah.
Bigger machines, we've got auto grease and whatnot on them. Excavators, not so much. It's too vulnerable to knock the bottle off. So very easy to grease an excavator because you can at least lift it up in the air to get to it.
Yeah.
But there's most of the mulchers, just one grease nipple at each end, half a dozen pumps every morning and at lunchtime, and there's a grease nipple on the door that opens and closes, and that's it. Maintenance-wise, not a lot. Meant to check the hammer bolts every day, which I'm sure not many people do, but once again, it's easy to do. So they're not as much maintenance as probably they've been perceived in the past. Years ago, mulchers, in general, had probably tractor-wise, the quality wasn't there with a lot of, European brands at that time. And there's some people that still think they're high maintenance when they're really not. Even our stone crushers, they're not. They pretty much get in and drive. The auto grease does it all for you.
Yeah. And then apart from the greasing, like, is there any other maintenance that you really need to do? Like, do you need to do anything else?
There is. So the drive between the motor, the hydraulic motor and the pulley, there's a little oil-filled hub. So sort of first service, 50 hours, drop the oil, and then from then on every couple hundred hours. So super easy. It's like most of them is no more than a litre of oil in there. So when we sell the machines, we give you grease and oil with it anyway. So you don't got to worry about it. And that is really it. There's, like I said, there's just visually check no bolts are vibrated out, and that's.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. What are some of the common mistakes people make that you can tell people to avoid now? Like, if you get one, don't do this. Is there anything that you hear of regularly? Like, oh man, I wish they didn't do that.
Yeah. Look, the main one is probably customers buying a machine knowing it can do, let's say, a certain diameter log, and then they ring you back and tell you they're doing a log 5 times that size. That's just how. At the end of the day, the machines, they don't break from that. It's more that the customer's going to just know he's just going to be going super, super slow because he's got the wrong machine for the wrong job. But yeah, look, it doesn't happen often. Once again, it's probably more the tractor guys that can have those problems with maybe their expectations on their difference or their view on what grass is and what my view on grass is can be different things, and regrowth size, for example. So once again, if the customer's trying to do material that's past the machine's capacity, the machine's just either not going to be happy, and it's going to soon let you know it's not going to process the materials. Yeah, we haven't had really any failures from that yet. Big stones on grass cutters is not ideal. There's a lot of stuff in, it can be wire, there can be railway iron, all sorts of things that people hit. We've had that, and that's just no one's fault. That's just in the grass and you didn't see it.
Yeah.
So that can end badly sometimes.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, we really don't have dramas. Like I said earlier, selling the machines correctly, trying to understand exactly what the customer wants to use it for, and just getting all that right before we sell a machine is the key, really. So we try to follow up the customers, soon after and make sure they're getting on well with the machine. And that's difficult because we've got so many customers now. But yeah, I mean, they'll ring. It's a lot of the customers will send us photos. There's a lot of very positive feedback from customers, which is awesome. So even online, you'll see there's a lot of positivity, which is fantastic. So yeah, like I said, good brand, and it's the key. It does its own thing.
Yeah, that's right. It sells itself, man. I recently saw a guy with a slasher, and he had like these herbicide bottles, whatever, attached to the top of it, so he could do the slashing and herbicide at once. Do you guys do things like that, or offer like mods that?
Yeah, that's what's his name from Mountain View.
That's the
so
one?
yeah, that's direct chemical injection he's got there. So basically, he's got a fairly concentrate chem, and he's just spraying it at a low rate but high concentration. For his type of job, it's not a bad idea because he does a lot of gorse. So it's just vulnerable. So he's obviously got his guarded up pretty well. we can offer that for sure. Any form of that. Our background, even with our business with VineTech, I mean, we've got all our vineyard sprayers. We've got chem injection on heaps of them. So
Yeah.
it's very, very easy to set up, but it's also very vulnerable. I wouldn't really put it on any machines, just from a warranty point of view, because it's just not going to end well. Hence the reason his is pretty heavily guarded.
Yeah. Well, it's the first one I saw, and it just popped to my mind. Yeah, just thinking about it. Yeah. So, do you guys actually have the slashers as well, or just mainly the mulchers?
There's one for excavators, but we don't bring them in. Look, my personal opinion, that the mulchers they're a lot safer. They're a lot easier to use. The slashers tend to throw a lot more material, so we've sort of stayed away from that a little bit. Just I don't know. I find the mulchers do a neater job as well. The result on the ground at the end is better. It's more consistent, more finely mulched, and you can mulch flush to the ground, so you don't get all these little stumps sticking up 2 or 3 inches. That's the downside of a slasher. So
Yeah.
slashers are good for just hacking big areas down quick, but they don't really do a neat job of it. I know there'll be different people got different views on that, but from our point of view, the mulchers I feel are just a better finish. They're a little bit more compact on the end of, let's say, an excavator, for example. So yeah, they've all got pros and cons, but probably from a safety point of view is really why we haven't pursued the slashers too hard in Australia. That market also, I should say, is very stitched up. There's lots of quality slashers from cheap to expensive, and so yeah, it's pretty well covered, I think. So it's pretty competitive, the slasher one. So at the moment, we'll stay away from that.
Yeah, I think probably good to specialize in the one sort of thing. Yeah. So, do you guys offer some type of finance for people that can't afford to buy one just outright?
We do. We got different brokers that we use. Generally, what one thing we do find, I would suggest with a lot of our machines, anything lately that seems to be under, let's say, 40 grand, people tend to use their own money. It's probably once we get over that 40 grand onwards that people are more interested in finance these days. So, and we find that very consistently now, mainly since COVID, for whatever reason. So, yeah, we've got a few different guys we do offer finance. Generally, we just pass those details on. The finance guys that we use will then reach out and contact them and work out, the best way around it. The downside of the finance guys I've got is that the customer needs an ABN. So where that gets a bit challenging is, new guys getting into the industry that have just started, it makes it a little harder. So that they might have to get their own, bank or someone to help them. But that's actually another important thing too to discuss with the actual new customers, like in general, that are actually getting into this. That we've got guys like Roofies, and he's like, I'm sick of building roofs and standing in the sun all summer. I want to try something different. So we've got from all different walks of life coming in, because they can see it's actually very good money. Like it's relatively easy work, especially on a posi. So super easy, not like I said, high maintenance, good money to be made, and very, and lots of customers. And another one we're seeing the last probably year and a half is there's a lot of guys, especially in Queensland, the mines, that are sort of at that semi-retirement stage. A lot of them have been driving machinery there, and they're like, I'm looking into it and thinking about giving this a crack. So yeah, we've actually set quite a few up, especially in Queensland, just small guys, and same deal. They're buying them. They're only doing 1 or 2 days here and there or whatever, but it's more of a probably for their own farm, and then just looking for a bit of extra income outside. But we get a lot of guys doing that now, which is good. They're not full contractors, but just still buying machines, still getting work, and so that's interesting.
Yeah, something different to just digging trenches all day or loading trucks and that
Right.
sort of stuff. Yeah, and I suppose there's a couple of listeners that I have that do that sort of work, and they do a lot of council work, where they clear vegetation, and they do all sorts of like tree reports and this and that, and then clear some shrubs and all sorts of stuff. So I think it's increasing market.
Yeah, councils are getting bigger, like you said, in all aspects. Even road building, like with the stone crushers, they're really, well, I guess, cutting costs by not trucking new material in. So they're basically just ripping the road, grading it into a windrow, hitting it with a crusher and re-rolling it. So that happens a lot now, mainly dirt roads, obviously. But arborists, we've got more arborists. Let's say they're doing backyards and things, they just mulch it up and leave it there rather than trucking it all away. There's lots of different areas. The mini stand-ons, we've just started bringing them in. They've been around for probably 3 or 4 years now, and there's a heap sold in America. We just wanted to sort of see how they would go before we bought too many in. So we've got a couple here now that are performing really well. Great for tight access. Anyone that's got a decent size stand-on, whether it's a Vermeer, digger, dingo, whatever it may be. So there's little forestry mulchers and grass cutters for them now. So your tight access stuff, little fire breaks around smaller properties. Great idea.
Yeah, and that would be good because land or block sizes are getting a lot smaller, and we always talk about everything's going to have to become tight access soon. So yeah, if you've got some trees or shrubs or whatever you need done in the backyard and you can't get to it very easy, one of those little stand-ons is probably perfect. Yeah, might be the next thing. Because I was going to actually ask you about what do you see in the future, and you basically just said it then. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that I think just having it available on more and more different types of machines is going to be vital. Yeah,
That's right. And like I said, the mulching in Australia is just becoming bigger. A lot of the councils have relaxed their policy on clearing around your borders and whatnot. So the more that happens, the more people are buying mulchers. So for us, it's a great time to be in the business. I think it's only going to get better, which is good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There you go. No, very good. So do you guys? You say you only sell. There's no rental aspect.
not really. Once again, if we did, it would only be probably in SA, just because of the border thing. Getting them back is a nightmare. So we've got some dealers that do have stone crushers and things that they might put 1 or 2 into their own personal fleet that they may hire out, trying to sell a tractor with it or however they package it up. But yeah, look, the demos for us really working better. We gave this probably 2022, we started pushing real hard. That's when we sort of, I guess, knew what we had. And then 23, we really pushed the demos, in 24. And 24, they started dropping off a bit. There was still a lot of people going to the field days and whatnot that were really just, let's say, tire kickers. There wasn't a whole lot of buying on site. So we changed our strategy a little this year, and that's why we did the demos. And it was just the way to go. Everyone wants to see the machines on their own property, and they want to see them, even if you have it at the neighbour's place, he still wants to see it on his own farm. So it's very hard to please everyone. But like I said, the trip we just did to Queensland, that was for the 9 weeks we were there, we covered pretty much the whole state. Like, we went everywhere and did a lot there. And it was, we had guys from other farms bringing stones over and laying them out on the ground, and we were crushing them and all sorts. So it was really good. It gave us a lot of confidence in Queensland to know all the different regions of different stone hardness, because everywhere we went, they all said, "Oh, got the hardest stones in Australia, and you never break them." So that was really good. So that type of thing we're going to continue doing. It is a bit of a mission. Like, it's you got to, we took our B double, so we had 14 machines on there and our own forklift and everything, and there was 3 of us away for 9 weeks, so it's a big cost.
Yeah,
but the reward is tenfold to field days. So we'll still do some of the key field days, but the demos in 26, we're gonna do a lot more. We're gonna do a big one in Victoria, New South, and probably one in WA as well.
awesome.
So yeah, got a bit planned there, and then next month we've got Agritechnica next month, which is I don't know if you've ever been there or not. It's in Hanover in Germany.
No.
It's a massive trade fair. It rotates every 2. So basically, this year's Agritechnica, next year's EMA in Italy, in Bologna. So that's where I actually met these guys initially, was at EMA. When we went over in 2018, we were looking for, obviously, a high-end brand. And my background, I'm actually a boilermaker, fabricator, so can spot a quality machine a mile away. So it was pretty easy to walk past and think, shit, these are pretty awesome. So that's kind of how it all started. So yeah, we'll go over there and see them at Hanover, and then from there we'll go to the end of November. We'll go to back to Spain and see them at the factory, see all their new automation that they've just put in, their new expansions. So that'll be cool. So yeah, we try to catch up with those guys as much as we can. They come here a bit, we go there a bit. There's a bit going on for the rest of this year, and then back into it again next year.
Yeah, there you go. Fair bit happening. It's good to see you got those relationships, though. Yeah, and like you say, if you see a quality item, why not jump on it? Yeah, because like you say, there is a lot of cheap stuff around, so it's good to have some quality
Yeah,
things.
you do get what you
Yeah,
pay for.
yeah, that's it. That's it. All right. So if anyone wants to get in touch with you guys or inquire about one of these mulchers or stone crushers, what's the best way to do that?
Well, the website is excellent. I like to think it's super up to date, which it is. We've got a lot of our lead forms come through there. So yeah, the mulchtech.com.au website. Obviously our email, sales@mulchtech.com.au, and also our YouTube channel. Yeah, just Mulchtech Australia. YouTube channel's doing good. We've got Facebook obviously as well, which is TMC Cancela Australia, the Facebook page, and Instagram, which is Mulchtech Australia as well. So there's a lot of ways to contact us. Normally I try to answer the phone. I'm the owner of the business, so I don't really have a 8 to 5 job. It's a 7-day job.
Yeah.
Even saying that too, even with WA, like it actually works really good because I can sort of, knock off, get home at night, and I can still talk to them until 7 SA time. So we actually kind of can sneak in a 12 to 14 hour day every day if we need it. So, but no, we try to be very approachable and try to always get back to customers as quick as possible. And once again, all our spare parts guys, if customers need spare parts, generally they know to call those guys. And if they don't, we just get back to them as quick as we can.
Cool. All right. And you guys are also on the Earthworks Hub website. So www.earthworkshub.com.au. You'll see them in the partners section at the top in the platinum part and also in the directory as well. So if you need any more information, and I'll have all your information on the descriptions as well for these videos. All right. Ben, is there anything you'd like to add before we come to an end?
I think we're good. I think my list.
That's it. No, good. And if anyone does have any questions, feel free to hit me up or even hit Ben up direct on the email he said before. Ben, thank you very much for joining us. I wish you all the best with the business, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot more dealings in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Guys, make sure you're following Earthworks Hub on all the platforms. Go to the website. It'll have links to everything. You'll have links to the YouTube page as well. And like all these episodes are put up on Patreon first, and then they go out to Spotify, Apple, and YouTube at a later date. So make sure you check it out. All right. Thank you for joining us, and I'll see you all on the next podcast. Take care, guys.
For trucks, obviously. On the lot.
Became steel resistant.